you're not already on LinkedIn and you have this really great sales force that's been in place for a generation or two, you probably continue to do all right. And I know a lot of automation companies, they don't have a single website and they're doing, $50 million a year or something. So
there's no one out there that's not trying to recruit talent. So
100%.
let's not lose sight.
Well,
If
you're right.
a big established business and you're the CEO or VP of a location, I don't care what it is, you're looking for talent.
Correct.
And if you're not putting yourself out there on LinkedIn, trying to build a personal brand,
people may not want to work with you, right? Or work for you.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
You're certainly not going to be.
But I see those businesses and they continue to work. They've got established clients that they've worked with for decades. I think without social media, Envision Automation wouldn't be where it is today. We've got a fantastic client base that's come through there and we've been referred through there. Giving people a peek into what it is that you do, how you do it uniquely, and do that in an authentic way, and be a little bold about it. Yay. But what you can share with the work that you do, it should really kind of shine a light on how it is that you're different. And that could be from a cultural perspective, like Nick's does a really good job with that. You guys are constantly kind of highlighting how your culture works at Nick's, which is really important for, like you said, attracting talent. But outside of that, the uniqueness of the business and the marketplace too, though, how do we set ourselves apart from a services and products perspective? And how are we doing that a little differently than our competition?
Welcome to Making Sparks, the podcast where we ignite your passion for metal fabrication and fuel your business success. Join industry leaders and dive deep into the world of metalworking. From business insights to tips of the trade, Making Sparks is your forge of knowledge. During each episode, discover success stories, innovative solutions, and expert interviews that light the path to business growth. Subscribe today and grow and improve your company, and let's make sparks fly together.
Welcome back to Making Sparks. I'm your host, Casey Velker, sitting here with my co-host, Matthew Nix. And today I got to bring a guest on, and it is Preston Hadley with Envision Automations and Controls. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir. You got it right.
Are you sure we're rolling? Are all the mics working? Are the cameras working?
Yeah, we're good. I see a red dot back camera. I see a red dot on the camera over here. That's on Preston.
I'm just feeling like,
and I see the red recording on the audio.
Casey's balls this morning a little bit to break the ice. No, we've had a couple times where we go 5-10 minutes and realize either one mic's not working or one of the cameras.
Well, the previous episode where it was just me and Matthew, I moved over and I unplugged everything and didn't realize it, and I was
now. Admittedly, if it was up to me, nothing would ever work.
That's fair.
I we'll give you that, but we're gonna have Brandon, one of the guys on our team, he's getting his pilot's license right now. So I'm going to have him sit down with you and develop an SOP punch list for starting these podcasts. Like he does his pre-flight. We're going to do a pre-flight for the podcast. So you're going to check everything off to make sure we're.
So when I shot weddings and I would have younger people come film with me, we'd have a little laminated sticker that was on the tripod or underneath or on the back of the camera screen that would say, make sure your focus is good, make sure you're rolling, make sure audio's good and stuff. So believe it or not, I actually did that before.
Well, we do have a few things going on here. There's 4 mics and 2 or 3 cameras, and you got to make sure all that stuff's all synced up and going.
Yeah, and we're really bad about not buying too much equipment. So we do it the old-fashioned way where we sync everything up later. So anyway, all right.
Okay.
Good tangent to start the episode, don't you think?
Yeah.
All right. So Preston, thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me.
I think the first thing we should have you talk about is a little bit about your background and then also how you got into Envision, automation and controls as I read your hat.
So I was born and raised in Evansville. I was raised in a machine shop, style upbringing. So my dad had a hobby shop that was left over from a previous business before I was born. It was a machine shop in Evansville. So I grew up in the hobby shop. Every weekend we go down and cut the grass. He'd have me start off when I was younger, maybe 6 or 7, lopping off pieces of material. Hey, go get me a piece of steel 2-3 inches long. Okay. Well, we went from that, and I started getting into high school. He started a business making firearms components that he designed, and we manufactured as a production shop. We also had a machine division as well that we operated and provided machine shop services in the local area, Evansville, tri-state area. And through that, I learned quite a bit about machining, setups, programming. But I also my primary function in the business was actually production and IT, actually. So I also managed and, programmed the websites, all the servers and all that good stuff. And so that kind of led me into a bit of a hybrid role where I'm at now, where I've created Envision back in 2019.
And I think one of the things that our listeners might find fascinating is you have a unique background, but you kind of embrace some other parts of running a business, which is marketing. Like if you guys check out Envision, if you check out their website, it's going to look like a really nice website. And Preston did that. Preston did that all on his own.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I did. Well, I mean, whoever designed the WordPress theme was really nice, but yeah, I did customize it and I did build it. Correct.
That's awesome. And then obviously, you've shown me like some systems and things that you've put in, some like automations on the business side that are really impressive. But tell us a little bit about who Envision is now.
Yeah. So when I started the company in 2019, I was an individual contractor, traveled the country commissioning automation equipment for OEMs in the area, a bunch of different OEMs. And that's evolved intentionally into a turnkey automation company where we design, build, program, and deploy automation solutions for our industrial customers.
Do you feel like your business has hit a plateau? Are profit margins slowly eroding over time? Perhaps you've outgrown your current structure or struggle to find the work-life balance you desire. As a fabrication or machine shop owner, navigating these concerns can be overwhelming. That's where ProFab Alliance can help. Built upon a foundation dating back to 1902, we understand the fabricator's journey because we've lived it. We're here to help you grow your business, maximize profits, and live a more balanced life. With our consulting expertise, supportive community, and franchise options, we're committed to your success. ProFab Alliance, by fabricators for fabricators. Visit profaballiance.com to learn more.
I think Preston said he wanted to hear your dad joke.
I really do.
I'm
a dad myself, so
he's a loyal listener.
Yeah.
I'm prepared today. I even put in a different notes thing so that it didn't show up like the one. I never mind. We'll go back to that another time. All right. Here's a good one. This is a good one, guys. I like this one. All right. What do you call a factory that makes just okay products? A satisfactory.
It's a good one.
I like that.
That was even relevant.
So you're like manufacturing.
For the manufacturing podcast.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, very good.
I did Google it. I didn't come up with it, but the original one actually said, "What do you call a manufacturing plant that makes adequate products?" And I was like, "Man, that's too long." So I changed it to, "What do you call a factory that makes okay products?"
Yeah, I like it. I'll have to steal that one now.
I'm gonna give myself a love clap. Okay, Preston. One of the things that I really wanted to talk to you about, I'm pretty sure I've talked about this on the podcast. If not, I am a huge believer as a business owner, especially anything that does B2B, getting on LinkedIn, using LinkedIn's been around. It's an old social media platform, but it's weird. It's in like what they call a content deficit. So like it's rewarding people to go on there and build following. It'll help you build your business. When I worked for Nick's, we did like some LinkedIn like research or something about trying to get some of the sales team members to get more active on LinkedIn. And I actually reached out to Preston and I had him give me some of his tips because I knew he was building a good following. But can you just tell us about like what your LinkedIn presence is like, how it's grown, and how you use it for your business to continue getting leads?
Well, it's been really rewarding. I get a lot of really good relationships out of it, actually. There's a lot of people, including you. I met you through LinkedIn, but there's people all over the country like you that I've met that I really connect with, and we actually can help each other out, or we at least just talk shop. Makes a huge difference. When I think of traditional social media, you think of like Facebook, and I don't really get any value from any of that. It's obviously not a business related social media platform anyway, but outside of that, I get a lot of reward from meeting new people on LinkedIn. But how it's been as far as for the business itself, it's been transformational. When I started the company, every client that we got was word of mouth. Any clients that I'd dealt with previously, they would refer me to other people. Okay. But when I started LinkedIn, I was, to be completely honest with you, I wasn't very hopeful that I could get a decent following. But I was able to, and it's been transformational. Absolutely. Yeah.
How many followers do you have now?
I think it's 14,000 and a quarter, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. It rounds about, at this point, I've slowed down a little bit on our content marketing, but it rounds about, for my personal LinkedIn, it's about 1,000 to 1,500 a year that I've been adding for the last several years.
So what kind of content or what are you doing to build that that following. I mean, there's obviously something unique you're putting out there to build. And I'm very interested in this. I've been trying to, work on my own, LinkedIn presence and social media as well. So
from a personal brand perspective, which is where I have the largest following, it's been about putting out very authentic and genuine content. More or less, the metaphor that I like to use is giving the audience a window into your business, into what it is that you do. And, you can put, like if you look at our corporate page, it's very branded, very polished. That's fine. And that should be there, by the way. And that page has a few thousand people as well that follow it. But when it comes to your personal brand, and if you're like in your case, you're the CEO of Nix, right? And I'm the head of Envision. So we're going to try to promote our businesses. That's our number one goal on LinkedIn. So putting out, I don't want to say behind the scenes, but a peek into your business in a more organic way from your personal perspective, it comes off more authentic, of course, too. So I think what you guys do with your employee spotlights, your historical videos about the company, I like that production that you guys did. I think that's all 100%, actually 150% necessary and really good work. But I think where some people fall short, that I've kind of coached a few people on what I've done, whether it's right or wrong, I think it's worked, is that you need to be a little more authentic, a little more organic with your content, for sure.
Authentic is the key. I have the little bit I know, and what I have tried to help others and give advice to others. That's it. Be authentic and bang the drum over and over.
I think you're doing that.
People get, I appreciate that, but people they think they have to talk about a whole lot of different things, and people have short memory, first of all.
Yeah.
But, like for me personally, I have 3 or 4 themes that so like family business is one of those themes. The biggest LinkedIn post I ever had, it was crazy. It sort of went like, mini viral, at least in our industry, was I took my boys on a little field trip one Saturday or Sunday. And, we went to like Home Depot and went to Dairy Queen, but I went and visited some job sites of ours. And one was the power plant. And I took a selfie with them with the smokestacks in the background. And one was a coal mine, and we work for all kind of other industries, by the way. This just happened to be 2 that were along our path. And I particularly said something about keeping the lights on or something. Mm-hmm. Within the coal industry and the power gen industry, like it kind of blew up. I think I got like 80,000 impressions or something on it. From a selfie with me and my boys. And, to your point, it was like, it was work related, but it was definitely a authentic and what's the word I'm looking for? Like
transparent
window. I love how you use that analogy of the window.
Well, and it takes you. So when you open up someone's LinkedIn profile, you see a profile photo, you see a cover photo, and you see some of their bio information. And it's kind of interesting how we perceive a profile. I think a lot of people go, "Oh, there's a person there," but that's a person on social media. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when you posted that picture with your boys and the work sites that you guys were going to that day, I'm not exactly the biggest fan of this word, but it more or less humanized the image, right? So you were showing them something a bit more personal. And, obviously we don't post like the most personal things on LinkedIn. It's a professional site, but it definitely shows people who you are, and that matters too. It resonates.
I think
for sure.
What's worked for me, because I'm kind of in the same boat as you. It's like I'm growing my business. Matthew's already he's still growing his business, but he's on the other side where he's got this pre-established business. So
I'd say so.
So that's what I'm saying. There's people that like look at you a different way than they look at me and Preston, and there are a lot of people who look at Preston a lot different than they look at me. But what I've found is like if you tell a personal story that ties back to business, so like you can be personal. Like I just had one that blew up a little bit yesterday. And it was, I shared my very first video I ever posted on YouTube.
I seen that.
And I wrote a little book about like how, and I'm honest about this. I talk to my wife about this all the time about how you take a step back and you look at these little moments in your lives and you're like, wow, that shaped me into, like, I didn't realize making little skate videos. Actually, the very first time holding a camcorder was going to shape me into being a camera guy. When I was like 8 or 9 years old, we held a camcorder that did VHS, making videos for Christmas, to skateboard videos, to doing videos at high school, to thinking I was going to be an architect, to being a video guy, right?
Yeah, to where you're at now.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I don't even know, I watched another YouTuber that did a little story, and I was like, I kind of want to do a post about this because this was, I was feeling kind of blah yesterday, So
it allows your audience to connect with you and understand more about you, and it matters. Absolutely. Yeah.
What percentage of your content that you put out on LinkedIn would you say is like kind of in the moment,
Behind the scenes or
no,
promotional?
more of like
living in the like what's going on right now versus retrospective. I'm trying to figure out.
versus what has thought out and polished. You know,
I
like,
got you.
So
sure.
and there's
Quick turnaround versus
there's no
playing
like
out.
line right here. I mean, just the bookend, opposite ends of the spectrum. One end of the spectrum is you're going to write a blog post that you actually edit and spend time thinking about, and you're going to sort of plan when that's released and try to promote it. The other end of the spectrum is like, I'm going to take a selfie in the moment and post 2 lines and boom, it's out there to the world. And then there's a whole spectrum in between that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's not one or the other. So, but my question is, how often are you putting out content at one end of the spectrum or the other, or somewhere in between?
Here's my method. It's nothing schmancy, I promise. But the before when I had a little more time on my hands, when the business wasn't as where it is today, I had a lot more time to honestly post things in the moment. Actually, get down into nitty gritty detail and give very specific examples of work, things like that, which I really enjoy. I think it shows people, hey, this is exactly what we can and cannot do. These days, with my load, the things that I'm dealing with, what I tend to do now, and this, by the way, I think applies to a lot of small business owners, and that is I will collect content. Okay, so my phone's always in my hand. I've got 30,000 photos and videos, but I'm constantly snapping content that I can use that's not protected by NDA. And then I will usually go through on like a good Sunday evening or a Monday morning, and I'll kind of scroll through my iCloud content and look for things and go, I think that would make a great post about this. I think this would be good to show the customer or the audience. And I just kind of pick it out like that. Actually, it's if I posted it in the moment, I'm sure it would be fine. And I don't exactly, pour over all of these photos and videos from last week and go, oh man, I don't think on it too hard. I kind of go, that jumps out. What would I find interesting? Mm-hmm. Well, I don't want to see that. That's boring, So I'll just kind of go through and pick out what I think is interesting, come up with a theme for each thing, and try to schedule that out throughout the week or the month if I can. So that's kind of where I fall these days. I have done a little more long form or well thought out things, but not a complete ton of that. It's something I want to do more of. But no, it's somewhere between real time posting and a little bit of thought, a little bit of time, but not too much.
One of the things I've noticed is that you're not afraid to promote your businesses on your personal page. A lot of times our business, you were talking about earlier, like a little side note is I do recommend everybody, if you have a business page and actively post at least once or twice a week on that business page. If for no other fact that when someone Googles you, it'll help you rank in LinkedIn on Google.
Yeah.
And it'll help people see that you are a relevant business, that you are actively engaged right now. Like some people will look at your business and not know that you're still operating.
If there's not anything, I've done that many times. Like, man, they haven't even posted in 2 years.
Are they still in the business?
Yeah.
And then you pick up the phone and call them. They're like, yeah, we're still here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. So I think having your business page, even if you don't get a big following, I think it's cool. I think Nix has a pretty good following on the Nix Company's LinkedIn page. I think I've seen Envision has a pretty good following on your business page, but it is LinkedIn's most powerful in your personal. And normally people are like, I don't like when people post promotional stuff on their personal, but I've seen you post it, and it doesn't rub me the wrong way that you're promoting, either Envision or your other business. Mm-hmm. Do you feel
don't you think there's a like?
That's what I was going to ask. Is there a balance?
If every post he made was just promoting Envision, I think people would not be following him. But if I enjoy following you and know you put out good content, I'm going to tolerate you promoting your business every now and then. I'm
sure.
Speaking.
I was going to ask, how often do you promote? Like, to me, like I see it and I'm like, but I also see all your, like you used to see a lot. Like you said, you haven't done as much recently.
Yeah,
but I used
slowed
to
down
see
a little bit.
Tons of personal stuff.
I've slowed down on the professional page, on the business page with polished and branded content. And I've hopefully maintained my personal, somewhat consistent schedule of posting content. So for me, this is how I've tried to manage it and try to balance it. If you'll check out just an average post of mine, it's usually, like I said, not branded or polished, but it's usually something interesting. Pictures do better than video, almost all of the time. And typically what I do is, instead of creating this polished branded content and rubbing everybody the wrong way, like I'm just this over the top sales guy all the time, I just usually put it in the text, hey, give us a call. And it kind of, even if it's down in this, read more, if it's below that, it's fine. But you'd be surprised how many people have called me, emailed me asking for a request for quote.
See, I think that's interesting.
Yeah,
You're
no.
asking for the business, and I think that was
I don't do that as
I was
as
working.
much.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm working with Alyssa Paik as a fractional chief marketing officer. She's actually going to be on. But that was one of the things she said to me. She's like, Matthew, you put out a lot of content. You got to think about it. It's like you're giving, by trying to put out content in a sense, but you're not asking for anything back. And so a couple times I just asked like, hey, reach out and I'd like to talk. I didn't ask for business, but I'm asking to build connections.
Yeah.
So I would put a topic out and say, hey, if anyone's interested in talking about this, I'd love to hear from you. And lo and behold, people will private message you. And that could lead to a project, right? And if you don't ask, I mean, you may get somebody to reach out once in a while, but if you ask almost indefinitely, reach out.
Do you ask on almost every post, or do you?
If you look on most of my posts, as of lately, the first thing you'll see is our tagline, you envision it, we build it. Our
That's
trademark.
great, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I like it. Below that, you'll usually see then the description or the attention getter. And below that, you'll see a call us at, my phone number, hashtag, all that good stuff. I think that like LinkedIn, admittingly, when I first started LinkedIn, and I've admitted this on other podcasts, I tried the whole sales by numbers game. Just email blast or in-mail blast people with like, basically you have this template, change the name, make sure they fit the profile. Do not. Yeah.
That's
I did
the
that.
thing I hate about LinkedIn the most is the people that wear me out that way.
Yeah. See, I'll admit that I did it.
I did it too. I did it too
And
for a while too.
you know what? Didn't get me a single client. Not a single client. It may have got me one or two little leads, and then they would tell me, "Oh, not really." It just already had rubbed them, like you said, rubbed them the wrong way. And I thought at the time, this was back in early or late 2018, just before I had really started promoting the business. And I thought, well, this is what I've been taught to do. You go online, oh, you need numbers, just blast it, And so I think that posting very directly about wanting to work with other people might be a little not so tactful, but indirectly is kind of what I go for, right? I'm trying to give content that brings value somewhat legitimately, or at least, if not value, some entertainment. I just posted something today. People just really enjoy it. It was like we built a server rack for our Autodesk Vault and put it in Louisville. And everyone had looked at that and they got some pretty good engagement. And it's just because it was very interesting, on the tech side of things. So it's not exactly something that, could result in a sale, but it matters to show them, hey, this is what we're doing to put better tools in place for our business. And this is kind of an interesting topic. So
Have you ever went back and edited a post that took off that you didn't maybe have an ask on there?
No.
So I've done that and it's actually worked, where like you take off and then you go back and you edit it and then you put it in at the very
That's a good
bottom,
idea.
or you
Yeah.
or put it in the comments.
I've never done it actually. What I find
I don't
is
know if
when
it hurts or not.
It does.
Does it?
Yeah. So when you edit, well, it depends on what stage in the process during that kind of viral growth you're in. If you go back and edit, it will hurt. Allegedly, this was actually something published, but
Resets,
With
like-
the algorithm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
resets algorithm.
yeah, correct. But there was
That's good to
also, it's just like, for example, we don't put our website link in our post. That hurts it as well. If you put, most people end up putting that in the comments. If you ever noticed why they do that, that's one of the big
Which I don't
reasons.
know if that always works as. I think they
Yeah.
think it does. I think people just do it because everybody else
I don't
is doing
do
it.
it.
I don't know if it works either because
Yeah.
What do you mean by when you say if it worked?
like I don't know if like it helped, or in my mind I think it may still do what happens when you put the link in your post.
So you're not disagreeing that putting the link in your post hurts it.
I
You're
agree,
saying
I agree
putting it in the
100%.
comments might hurt it too.
Any social media, if you put a link in your post, it hurts it a little bit. And that doesn't mean you can't. There's going to be times that you want to put that link in there. I do it often. If I want to show a case study, I'm putting that link in there.
Oh,
because I
sure.
want to
One of
see
the
that case
things
study.
I've noticed, particularly on Facebook, there's probably
They don't want you to leave their platform, basically.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Particularly on Facebook, I'm sure it applies on LinkedIn as well. But when I share company-related stuff, it suppresses the reach big time. I mean, I think it hurts me too because my last name is the same as the brand as our business. I would assume that the algorithm pick up on that more. But I think even in your case, Envision not being tied to your name, I think they understand the connection there. And so if I share, because we have a marketing team now that does the company stuff, but every now and then I try to share it and engage with it. It really suppresses my reach. I'm like, I know that should have went out to a lot more people because I know how many likes I normally get or whatever engagement. So what I've started doing is if it's something I really want to get out there, I will go, like, for example, it's a video. I will share the direct YouTube link of the video instead of sharing our company page.
You know what you should do?
Try to get it. Please tell me. But it definitely helps. But
upload directly to your personal Facebook page. I don't know if you want to do that, if you want a business video on your personal page, but uploading directly to Facebook on your personal, I say Facebook, but it's the same thing with LinkedIn. Always uploading directly to the platform versus sharing YouTube, because YouTube's the same.
So that would even be a step better.
Yeah, because YouTube is still a link that takes, the only good thing that all social media platforms, not all, but Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram doesn't matter because you can't put links in there, but Facebook and LinkedIn, for instance, the good thing that they have with YouTube now is that it has where it's built into the player can be built into the platform. So you click play, you actually stay on Facebook, even though it pops up looking like
it's embedded.
Yeah, I know it's like an app or something.
Sure,
built into the app. I forget what they call it, but so that's a good thing. And Facebook and LinkedIn, they did that so that people wouldn't leave their platform.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know that they don't want you. That's why, for a long time, Facebook was. And LinkedIn, they all did. They were all trying to compete with YouTube by making videos so much easier to put on there. Facebook had for a long time, they were going to be the next YouTube. That's what they said they were going to be. They created apps for smart TVs and all this. Now they've embraced Reels, which is still crazy underutilized from a business perspective. You can get so much more reach if you use the Reels. Same thing with LinkedIn. If you use their short, vertical, or square videos more than you use your horizontal videos, you're going to get better reach and stuff. But actually, something you said earlier that kind of off of that, you said pictures get more reach than videos for you. And,
for me,
and I would actually kind of agree with that for most people. For me, I think I'm set up as a video creator. So even on my personal profile, so my own videos always get more reach for me on LinkedIn and definitely on Facebook, videos get more reach. But on LinkedIn, videos get more reach for me. But I know I've heard that too. But I will say my photos don't get bad reach. Photos do pretty good.
Well, I think the vertical videos are going to perform better than a typical one, where so you're just scrolling and it plays automatically, and it's like it looks more like the reels.
I was going to say we're in a time right now where we've been trained to be scrolling, and all of a sudden you see these big embedded closed captionings. Really not that great production. We're using it on this podcast. After this podcast, we're going to produce a whole bunch of little shorts. We do it on purpose because LinkedIn and Facebook are promoting that style of video right now. So why not?
Well, it's the method in which they're capturing attention. I mean, you've probably scrolled. Oh God, it's called doom scrolling. It's just horrible. I mean, thankfully mine's filled with a lot of engineering because it knows what I like.
Yep.
Engineering or history or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's somewhat, not somewhat, it is addicting. That very 15 to 30 second short form content. It's ridiculously entertaining because you can scroll through 100 of those in no time. And you think about, wow, what does that what has that done to the time? Time has absolutely went by. Oh, yeah. Like a half hour just disappeared or an hour disappeared. Yeah, absolutely.
I got a question here, a little bit of a different direction, but relating to your profile and how you build a presence. I saw the other day on bios about how speaking in first person, and you talked about being authentic, can be really powerful. I don't know how many people actually go read the bios, but I think if you're really trying to get everything dialed in and you're asking for the business, is your bio on LinkedIn written in first person or third person?
Honestly, I can't remember. I think it's first person.
So I copy and pasted mine off.
Please look it up. It's been a while.
I copy and pasted mine off our website, and everyone's on the website's written in third person.
Because
it's meant to be like someone else wrote this about all these people.
Yeah, some of a corporate
and our marketing
perspective.
Marketing folks did that, and of course I polished mine like everybody does. But I'm actually thinking about going onto my LinkedIn one and rewriting it in first person to where you're really having that conversation with folks.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
Make it more
I would put money on mine's in first person if you look it up.
I don't know if my internet's not working very well because it's saying no results found for Preston Hadley, and I'm literally clicking on your
Well, I'm not surprised. If it is, I'm not surprised. You're ahead of the curve once again.
Well,
but I think the vast majority of them are in third person. So if you're trying to look that's kind of the professional polish.
Yeah, I think the way people are viewed on LinkedIn's changed though. Like when I first got on LinkedIn, my initial assumption was I need to go ahead and get the headshot with with the suit and all, hey, there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. Being professional, looking professional matters. But my headshot today is I'm on the back of a dock just before I loaded a piece of equipment, and that's my headshot.
I like that. Yeah.
So, and I was creative with, I put a hashtag open to automation, which is, kind of a ploy on the whole open to work or
your about's actually really short. President of Envision Automation and Controls. I love to build smart, simple, and efficient technology solutions for our customers. That's your about.
Okay.
So
awesome.
I followed this lady who was she was self-proclaimed, but she built a huge following teaching on LinkedIn, which is kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
But she actually did put a really cool thing about basically telling a story about why, basically telling your story in like a fable type manner of how you got to where you are. And I think I told you this on one of our previous episodes. I always said that I wanted to be a motivational speaker. So that's actually my LinkedIn bio. I always said I wanted to be a motivational speaker, and I went through this little tangent, and then I think it's I'm not a motivational speaker anymore, but I make videos that motivate people.
Yeah.
And that's cool. My story. So I did more of a fable. I don't know if people, I will say this, my following's not nearly your following or Matthew's following, but I get tons of views all the time, and it's of people that I actually want to do business with or connect with and talk to about business. I'm more about that than probably anything on LinkedIn, is finding people like you, Preston, that I love, that me and you now talk business outside of LinkedIn. That's awesome. And it's because of LinkedIn that we talk business, and I'm messing, and you're a twin and I'm a twin. That's pretty cool too, right?
Yeah, I don't see that.
I didn't realize that you were a twin.
Yeah, identical twin.
I mean, I knew you had a brother. Yeah. But.
Yeah. And my brother's awesome too. I really love my brother, but like a typical twin, we don't work together because we would just butt heads. But he's a
my twin's a client of mine, so there's that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't know how you do it, but good for you guys. Yeah, awesome.
So we're kind of coming up on our time here. So I'm going to ask you, what's one advice if there's a manufacturing leader, a fabrication leader, a machinist, or whatever, someone that's kind of scared to put themselves out there on LinkedIn, what would you say to them? Because I do think if you're a leader of your business, and definitely if you're a B2B business, even now B2C is doing really well on LinkedIn, but if you're a B2B business, I think you kind of have to be on LinkedIn if you're wanting to grow your business. If you're wanting to stay where you're at, that's fine. But this podcast isn't about that. This podcast is about growing your business. So
sure, yeah. I mean, if you're not already on LinkedIn and you have this really great sales force that's been in place for a generation or two, you probably continue to do all right. But I know a lot of automation companies, they don't have a single website, and they're doing 50 million a year or something. So
there's no one out there that's not trying to recruit talent though. So let's not lose sight.
Well,
yeah. If you're
right.
a big established business and you're the CEO or VP of a location, I don't care what it is, you're looking for talent.
Correct.
And if you're not putting yourself out there on LinkedIn and trying to build a personal brand presence,
people may not want to work with you, right? Or work for you.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
You're certainly not going to be at the top of the list. So
no,
I didn't mean
no,
cut
you're
you off,
fine,
but that's an important.
Matthew's rude like that and just interrupts people.
You should meet my family. We interrupt all the time. No, that was actually a really great point. But I see those businesses, and they continue to work. They've got established clients that they've worked with for decades. But for me, when I started my company in 2019, I didn't have that same setup. I didn't have that same luxury. So I'm starting from the bottom. I think without social media, Envision Automation wouldn't be where it is today. I mean, we've got a fantastic client base that's come through there, and we've been referred through there. I think when you're starting out, to your question, giving people a peek into what it is that you do, how you do it uniquely, and do that in an authentic way, and be a little bold about it. Don't be, probably shouldn't be posting things that are protected under intellectual property or NDA, but what you can share with the work that you do, it should really kind of shine a light on how it is that you're different. And that could be from a cultural perspective. Like Nix does a really good job with that. You guys are constantly kind of highlighting how your culture works at Nix, which is really important for, like you said, attracting talent. But outside of that, the uniqueness of the business and the marketplace too, though, how do we set ourselves apart from a services and products perspective? And how are we doing that a little differently than our competition? Absolutely.
I think something I meant to tell you as well earlier, that you talked about authenticity and stuff. I think it's okay to be a little cheesy, to be a little inspired, not
but that
cheesy,
is
but like inspiring.
But that kind of is authentic.
It is authentic. I
know what I mean? Like the most authentic thing would be your cheesy self. I mean, what?
I always say it's okay to play the game a little bit.
Sure.
That like on LinkedIn, that people want to hear stories. They want to hear your trials and your triumphs and stuff. Like it's okay I think the more you're transparent about your trials is probably better. Like when you have struggles and stuff, like
100%.
if you can give that, I think you're going to actually come off more authentic than someone who, we all know that, social media, people hide behind it and show the best parts of themselves. Showing some of the not so best parts is a great way to be authentic. So.
Or showing a really good thing that I've been able to share and get a lot of resonance from would be the origin stories, the early days, so to speak.
I love that.
And, I made a post last year, I think it was, showing a picture of my apartment setup to, where we're at now. Admittedly, not the biggest building in the world.
Still impressive,
but
though.
Really, really happy with the progress I've made in 4.5, 5 years. It's been really cool. And that got a ton of resonance, and I had a lot of people in there being very encouraging of, hey, man, I've watched you the whole way. This is really cool. Like they've pretty much watched me on social media progress the business.
It's awesome, yeah.
And, like when I first got the service van, people were flipping out about that. They were like, what are you going to name it? It's got to have a name. And, yeah, and I actually drove it in today. I told Jessica, I said, it's going to be so cheesy. I'm going to be pulling up. She's borrowing my car. Her car's in the shop. So I'm driving the van. And I'm like, Matt and Casey are going to be like, what the heck is he driving that Envision mobile into here for? But anyway, when I first got that, a lot of people thought that was a really cool progression in the business.
I'm sure Matthew could say the same when you guys first started getting your guys' Knicks, when you got that new logo and started putting it on the trucks and getting it out in the fields and stuff like that. I bet you there's some pride in that.
Sure.
Oh, ton. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, like that, it's like a moving billboard. But, I remember when I did all the graphics work, if people don't already know, I do all of the graphics and marketing. I don't have anyone doing that out of house at this time.
I know a guy.
That's right. I do know a guy, and he's got some of the same company colors I like too. But I remember when I designed everything for that van, I actually just went ahead and had it printed for like a few $100 and applied it myself, saved myself from like a couple $1,000 wrap. And everyone's like, it looks like a wrap. I said, it's just a white van with a bunch of huge stickers on it. So, just like creative little inventive ways of like that to market your business. But makes a difference.
That's great. I learned a lot. I have a page of notes.
I know. Well,
personal
and
stuff that I'm going to do better and change. And
I
learned a lot.
The main reason I want Preston on, but we may have to have him on again to talk about something that he showed me is, I know a lot of our listeners, and we're not going to go into this, Preston, but a lot of our listeners use like Google Workspace for their online, for just basically all their documents and organizing files and stuff. And Preston has got that down to a science on how to use Google Workspace in a way that looks so professional to your clients, to your internal or employees, and automated to be so efficient. I mean, I know you take a lot of pride in it.
I'd love to learn about it. We run our business on the Google platform.
That's what I was going to say. I think that may be something we talk about on the podcast, and even off air, you need to probably just see what he does. It's really cool. But if you like this episode, first off, thank you, Preston, for being on
having
here.
Me on, yeah.
If people wanted to follow you, I'm going to assume they can look you up on LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, well, if you Google my name, you'll find another gentleman who plays football. But if you go to LinkedIn, you'll find me, or you can type in Envision Automation. It's usually the first Google result. So it's envisions.io, and LinkedIn. Preston Hadley should be the first result.
And if your business has an outdated website, check out his just for some inspiration, because I really do think your website, I mean, it's pretty simple, but it definitely looks professional.
Thank you.
And things like that, especially for the fact that you did it all on your own, which I'm not discounting that at all. A lot of people do that.
Oh, sure.
Everybody.
Yeah, beyond just marketing, I think you're just a great example of how you bootstrap a startup.
Exactly.
The way you built your own website, the way you decal your van yourself.
Yeah.
Those are the things you have to do. You have to survive when you're starting out.
Absolutely.
I think that's why you built the following, because you're showing that, and I think people are inspired by that.
Oh, sure, yeah.
People get to peek into that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be different if I just popped onto LinkedIn one day and I said, hey, I got this big company, and how'd you get there? What was the journey? Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you, Preston. If you like this video, rate it, review it, refer it. Those are the 3 R's that the Making Chips guys told us about. And so, but basically, I always tell people, just share it with people that you like. And if you know of someone that wants to be a guest, if they want to come over to Little Old Poseyville and tour at Nick's offices, they can even come see the awesome Captivate Concert office. Thanks for listening. And again, thanks, Preston.
Yeah, thanks, Preston.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate you guys.